Hey viewers, well I'm continuing to work on the Trek 4300. I'm actually almost done with it, but what I need to do now is replace the shift brake levers on there. This one here was missing the cover when I got it, and this one over here, the brake lever's bent. It's just kind of all beat up, and then the cabling is just a complete mess. This is how it was when I got it, just kind of duct taped to the top tube, and it's just a mess. So I need to replace all the cables and housings on the bike. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on today. I'm not even going to bother trying to save these grips because they're all just torn up. So what I'm going to do is just use a knife and cut through the rubber and peel them off. Like that. And then remove the lever here. Looks like it's going to be a 5mm. Loosen that. And slide this off. Like that. And then the same thing with this side. Go ahead and cut the grip off here. It's actually pretty loose already, so just toss that. Okay, I've got the first shifter here, and I'm going to slide this on. And I'm going to slide it on farther than it needs to be on there. And now I have some new grips. So what I'm going to use is some isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol. Squirt a little bit of the alcohol inside the grip. Shake it up, get it all coated on the inside there. That'll act as a lubricant, allowing you to slide the grip on there. It's still pretty tight, but work the grip on. Okay, and get it all straightened to where you want it to be. And when the alcohol evaporates, this thing will be on there nice and rock solid there. So now, get the grip kind of positioned roughly where you want it to be, and then tighten the little clamp bolt. Like that. Now I'm ready to install the other shifter, so I'm going to slide this one on and just slide it on like that. Got my new grip, got my alcohol. Shake that on there. You can always drip a little bit of alcohol on there if you want. And then slide the grip on there like this. And get it all the way on. And then get positioned how you want it to be positioned, because when it dries, then it's going to be on there. So it's all the way on, got it all nice and straight. Then I'm going to get the shifter straightened up along the lines with the other shifter and tighten the clamp bolt like that. The new brakes are roughly the same style as the original brakes, so the existing cable housings should be about the right size. I'm going to replace them all anyway. So I'm going to pull this cable housing off here, and I'll just cut new cable housings the same size. I got some brand new cable housing here, so I'll just match up the two sizes. Part here, and I got my Park Tool cable housing cutters on here. if you're getting cable housing cutters, I really recommend buying quality ones. They just do a much nicer job. Cheap ones just kind of crush the cable, and these just make a nice clean cut like that, and you end up with a nice clean end on there. Then I can use a little awl or scribe here to open up the plastic lining, because when you cut it down, it kind of gets swished down. So you just use this to kind of poke down in there, and it opens up the lining in there. Now I need to install a new cable into the brake lever here, and there's the little lock part here. There's a slot in there. And then there's a slot in the barrel adjuster there, and there's a slot down the side here. Sometimes it's on the bottom, but on this one it's on the side. So I'm going to get those lined up, take my new cable, slide this in underneath here, slide that in through the slot, and then get this in through the slot on the barrel adjuster, and then that's all in like that. So I got my new cable housing here, and I'm going to install a ferrule onto the end of the cable. The ferrules keep it from expanding out inside here. If a ferrule will fit inside the opening, like of the barrel adjuster, or inside the end of the noodle, then use a ferrule. If it doesn't fit in there, then don't use it. So in this case, the ferrule will fit into the barrel adjuster, but not into the noodle. So I'm going to use the ferrule on the one end. Get that seated in there. And I'm going to be using a brand new noodle. The old one just was in poor shape. So slide this in here like this. And I want to remember to install the little rubber boot on here, as it's difficult to do after you get the cable all installed. So I'll get the noodle hooked up on the brake there, get the little rubber boot on there like that, and get the cable installed over here. Okay, I want to get these brakes adjusted here, so I kind of get them pulled into the rim, let it out a little bit. And what I can do is I can mess with the lever here, kind of pull it in and feel about where I want the thing to be. And then tighten this down. Don't tighten it real tight at this point. Then test the brakes, and right now they're kind of uneven, but that's okay. I'll fix that. And I want to tighten them up a little bit more. You can feel how much the lever goes in, because when you have the brakes fully tightened, you don't want the brake lever to bottom out. Now that feels about right, other than this lever here is not moving, so I need to adjust that. So the action on these two brake arms is unequal. This one's just not pulling back. So what there is there's a little adjuster screw down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten this a little bit, turn it half a turn, and then I'm going to loosen the similar screw on the other side also by a half a turn. Then I'll test them a little bit, and it's a little bit better. But so I'm going to tighten this another half a turn, loosen the one on the other side by a half a turn, and a little too much. So I'm going to tighten this or loosen this by about a quarter of a turn, and tighten the other one by about a quarter of a turn. And that looks pretty good. So what I'll do is tighten this all the way, cut off the excess here, leave about 1.5 to 2 inches there. Put a little crimp end on, then tuck this back behind here, and I'm all done with the front brake. So I need to install the cable on this brake lever as well, same way as the other side. Line up the little notches here. Get the cable. It just slides like right up into there. Go through the notch there. And fine, then turn this in here like that. I cut a new housing for this part, and I have a ferrule on both ends. So slide the cable in there. And then you got to figure out the routing here, whether it's going to go to the inside or the outside of this other cable. So you can try turning it to see how it works out in both ways, and it actually works out pretty nicely like that, so I'm going to leave it like that. Now this frame is also set up for disc brakes, so it's got fittings for disc brakes. These two cable stops here are normal size, but this one here is larger, and this is for the rear brake. And so what they have is, if you're not using disc brakes, which require like a larger like hose going through there, it's got a special little ferrule that fits right down inside there. So I'm going to slide this onto the cable here, and a regular ferrule fits inside of this ferrule, and so this goes into the cable stop like that. Then also along the cable, along this section here, there were 3 little rubber beads that go on the cable that help prevent the cable from banging into the frame. So I'm going to slide these onto the cable. And then slide these up along here. Okay, I need to remove the remnant of cable from the brake here. And I've got my new housing here, and again on this side there's also the larger little ferrule that goes on there, so I'm going to fit this onto the new housing. And I've got a ferrule on there too, regular ferrule. And so I'll slide the cable down through here. Fit that in there like that. And the ferrule is not going to work on this noodle. So I'll slide the housing into the noodle like that. And then I got a new brake pad here, so slide this on here like this. Put this little part here like this. I have a video that's more in depth on installing brake pads on this type of brake, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail right here. Get lined up with the rim. And then I want it slightly toe in, so I want the front part to hit very slightly before the back part. I want it parallel with the rim, not hitting the tire. And I may fine tune this a little bit later. Just get this installed here for now. Slide this on. Okay, now that I got the brake pads installed, I want to install the cable here. So pull the cable down through here. And tighten this down a little bit. And then I'm going to bring these in here. I can kind of hold the cable here and test the brakes to feel about how far they pull in. And get it to where it's pulling in about right, but the brake lever is not bottoming out. Then I can tentatively tighten this here like this. And then test it. Oh, I want to tighten it just a little bit more. Just a little bit more cable there, or a little bit less cable, like that. Test it. And that actually feels pretty good there. So tighten this down. Again, test it. And both the levers are moving pretty well there. So I'll cut the cable off, leaving about 2 inches on there. Put the crimp end on and tighten that down, and then I'll stick that back there like that. Okay, I'm ready to start hooking up the shifters now. I'm going to start with the front shifter, and I got a piece of housing cut. This housing is different than the brake cable housing. The brake cable housing has like a spiral metal part in there. The shift housing is stranded, so it has a whole bunch of strands in there. And on newer type of shifters like indexing, the stranded housing allows it to remain stiffer and not compress as much. Older type shift housings had similar housings like the brake with the sometimes with the spiral and stuff, but with the stranded housing, it allows for more accurate shifting with the index shifting. So I'm going to put ferrules on both ends here. Run the cable into the housing. Put a ferrule on this end too. And the little cable stop here is right in the middle, and I can either go around this way or this way, and I think it's going to work better if I go on to this side. Just to test it, as I turn the handlebars, it's not going to kink in either direction. So I think that's going to work better on this way. And again, I've got the little rubber beads, so I'm going to install those onto the cable. And then they just get positioned here along there. So they keep the cable from banging against the frame there. Well, I was incorrect. The shift cable for the front derailleur actually goes to the outside channel, so I moved it up front. And so I need a piece of cable housing that goes from right here down to here. So I have a little bit of housing here that I cut, the same length as the piece that had been there. And so I'm going to slide this in here like this. And put a piece of, put a ferrule on the end there. I pull this up and get this seated in there like that. Pull the cable through and get this seated down there like that. And here's the front derailleur, and there's still a little bit of remnant of cable in there from before. So pull that out of there. And then I'm gonna get my new cable here and get this fed into here like this. Okay, get the cable pulled as tight as possible without actually, to where it's actually not pulling the derailleur over. and get it in there, and then tighten this little clamp screw here like that. And I'm going to cut this cable off just a little bit, just to kind of get it out of the way, but I want to leave a little bit in case I need to pull it some more. And now I can test this. So pedal around, shift it up one notch, and it's not quite going up. Move this over here. So there's a little barrel adjuster on the shifter, so I'm going to adjust that out. And then there and there. Adjust it out a little bit more. Shift down, shift down, shift up, shift up, shift down, shift down. So that's pretty close there. I'm going to cut the cable here, leave about 1.5 inches on there. Put a crimp end on here. And then make sure this is nice and tight there, like that. Okay, done with the front derailleur. Okay, I cut a new piece of cable housing for the rear derailleur here, and I'm going to run this from here back around here like this. So I've got the cable here. I'm going to put a ferrule on both ends. Push this through. Put a ferrule onto this end. And then get this seated down in the cable stop right like that. Again, I got the little rubber beads, so I'm going to install those on here. Slide all those up into place. And they'll sit all along like that. Okay, the next little segment of cable housing goes from right here down to here. So I've got that cut. And I'm going to put ferrules on both ends. Slide the cable in like that. They'll come out the other end. Slide a ferrule on there. Pull the cable through. Get this seated up into that cable stop there. And get this seated down in this cable stop right there. Okay, and I got this next little bit of cable housing that I need to cut a new piece up for. Okay, I've got the new piece of cable housing cut, but first I got to remove the remnant of cable from the derailleur here. So let me see here. Loosen that and pull that through. And I've got ferrules at both ends of this cable. So slide the cable in there. It'll come out the other end. Get that seated up into there. And I'll put a ferrule onto this end of the cable housing. Like that. Slide the cable in through the barrel adjuster. Get that seated. And I'm going to screw this all the way in. Like that. And then maybe screw it out about 1.5, 2 turns. Like that. Now what I'm going to do is fit the cable into the little clamp part here, pull it tight, and then tighten down this bolt here. I don't need to totally tighten it down at this point because I may need to adjust it. Now I can test the shifting. So what I'm going to do is I'll pedal it and click it up one notch, and it went up one cog, 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 down, down. Actually, it's working pretty well there, considering that first try. Okay, up. It's not quite going up to the first, so I'm going to adjust this out just a little bit. And I'll try it again. Up one, down one. Up one. It's not quite catching, so I'll adjust this out a little bit. Okay, to where it goes up, there, down, up, 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 down, down, up, up, down. Okay, that's pretty close. It might need a little bit of fine tuning, but I'm going to go ahead and tighten this off. Cut that off, leaving about 1.5 inches on there. Put a crimp end on. Tighten that on there. And that's done. Well, I finished installing the shifter brake levers on the Trek 4300. I think it looks a lot nicer now. Anyway, if you found this interesting or useful, please click like on the video. I always appreciate getting likes on my videos, and it helps me out. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. You can click the big subscribe button. And you can also follow me over on Facebook, RJ the Bike Guy, and I post a lot of stuff over there. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.